Right, if you just joined us, you're still watching Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. And now to our main conversation for today. The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, on Wednesday denounced the killings in the southeast over the group's agitation for cessation and appealed for an out-of-court settlement of his ongoing treason trial by the federal government. In a conversation with his lawyer, who pointed out to him that he needed to speak up to stop the killings and condemned any manner of killing in its entirety, Kanu stated that he understands that some of the slain soldiers are his people, with their families now in mourning. However, Kanu, through his lawyer, Aloy Ejimakor, informed Justice Binta Yako and the prosecuting counsel, Chief Adeboyega Awomolo, SAN, that the defense wants the case settled out of court and pleaded for the invocation of Section 17. I believe he meant Order 18, 2019 as amended of the Federal High Court rules, which he stated provides for reconciliation and facilitation of amicable settlement in criminal or civil matters. The federal government's lawyer, Awomolo, however, told the court that it was not in his place to seek an out-of-court settlement of the matter, but advised Kanu's team to approach the Attorney General of the Federation on such issues, as the part grant such resides with him, but reiterated that the proper time for such an issue had not come. Meanwhile, Kanu, in a fresh application before the court, prayed for the dismissal of the charges against him for being unconstitutional, which the judge dismissed outright. Justice Nyako rather held that the only option left for the applicant was to proceed on appeal, and the matter was adjourned till September 24 for hearing. And still with us in the studios, Barrister Evans Ufeli and Emeka Madunagu. Thank you, gentlemen, for hanging around and being part of our show. Barrister Evans Ufeli, I think I'd love to direct this question to you. Looking at the practice and procedure for out-of-court settlement, you will agree with me that matters of public interest and public policy cannot be settled out of court. When you take a look at this case, it's said it's a criminal case. Do you think that buys into the submission?
Well, the expression of Order 18, Rule 1, 2, and 3 of the Federal High Court rules is not as to criminal prosecution, is of civil litigation, wherein the court will give parties a window, okay, within which they will explore the possibility of settlement out of court. Okay, that is largely civil. For criminal prosecution, the defendant have no such luxury to go make an application for settlement out of court. The options open to him is for the Attorney General, by his discretion, can do what he can take over and discontinue criminal prosecution. Okay, we have an example, just like the case of Shore, where the Attorney General discontinued it. The Attorney General of the Federation can take over criminal prosecution from any part of the country. He has a before judgment. Okay, so I think what is required is not out of court settlement. What is required here is a political solution. A political solution, looking at a case panoramically, and come to that, conclusion where you are looking at how Kanu's possible release may quell the seeming crisis in the southeast.
Okay.
If he does have the influence, as it is acclaimed, then his release will go a long way, because actually it is the Ipob that the organization is to pretend over the one seeking for secession. Now, so many persons, so many criminals have hijacked that struggle and turned it around for economic benefits. People are kidnapping on the basis of that. People are killing. People are doing all sorts in the name of IPOB, because he's in detention. and you have stay-at-home orders on certain days, or when he's going to court, when they're taking him to court, you have all those. If he's released, the stay-at-home, at least that one will be extinguished. There will be no such. Then he and his team can now sit back and personally fish out those that are using the name of IPOB to create vices in society.
Even if IPOB is prescribed.
Yes, well,
because you can't.
Yeah, it's prescribed. I understand it's prescribed. It's prescribed to the extent that the federal government called it a terrorism group. But you see, when you are talking political solution, the nomenclature does no longer. It doesn't. Is it not policemen and soldiers that were killed in Abia the other day? You understand? And everybody's saying it's IPOB. But if those who own the organization, prescribe or not, they're saying it's not their people. Okay, there's a need. You see this Nnamdi Kanu's case. Even the Supreme Court has said the extraordinary rendition was wrong. Okay? And that when his house was invaded, that it was irresponsible of the federal government to have invaded because he was on bail. If a man is on bail, why do you go and chase him? So, if you put all that together, there's actually a moral justification to release Nnamdi Kanu. Release him. Now, he has condemned the killings and all that, is making all those statements. On the strength of that, explore this political solution. I like to call it political solution, not out-of-court settlements. Okay? Let him go. Then what? Put him under stringent bail condition. Put him under stringent bail condition. Let him go. And do what he has to do to ensure that peace return to that region. It is very important that we'll do that. Otherwise, you keep losing. The federal government is trying to hold one man down to repress the force of IPOB. And then losing people and resources. Because they have to mobilize the soldiers, they have to do all that. Some of them are losing their lives and all that. So which is cheaper? Okay. To have peace restored to that place, or to keep funding the embers of war by keeping him, because even the one duplicating effort and committing crime, you cannot even tell who is IPOB and who is not.
Exactly. Emeka, let's take a look at this. Barrister talked about Showere's case. I'm not privileged to the merit, while out of court was done in that particular case. But don't you think, whatever the merit is, why isn't it possible to have it duplicated in the case of Nnamdi Kanu?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but let me just attempt just an academic exercise, based on comments by lawyers. Now, that of Showere was a discontinuance of the prosecution, because the central plank on which he wasn't prosecuted was that he used the word revolution, in calling for, mobilizing action against the Buhari government. And then Showere's lawyers brought out an interview by Tinubu, a chieftain of the APC, who is now the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where he used the word revolution. It was even in the headline. So, and also brought out instances where people had used the word revolution, and then went to the root. What's the meaning of revolution? So, it was becoming embarrassing. Because when you are pursuing a matter and you see that you are just being ridiculed, it's better to just, find a convenient way of escape, So, in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, of course, the Buhari government, put too much emotion into the matter. They mishandled the matter. And then we are so desperate. They are so desperate that they committed an international crime, went to kidnap somebody, went to abduct somebody from another country. Now that put Kenya in a tight situation, because Kenya depends on tourism for its, it is one of the major contributors to GDP, tourism. Now, Nnamdi Kanu is not a citizen of Kenya. He was a visitor to Kenya.
A legal visitor.
A legal visitor. And then some foreign forces now came and kidnapped him in the country. How do you want tourists to continue to come to your country when that can happen? And it was clearly said that security forces in your country aided and abetted this abduction. And that was not the first time. it was happening in Kenya. A Turkish dissident had also, in like manner, been kidnapped from Kenya. And it was now Kenya, the international community was beginning to look at Kenya. So are you now becoming a theater for abduction, for international abductions?
A porous one.
Yes, so it has huge implications. It can damage Kenya's economy. It can damage its economy. Yes, tourism is a fragile industry. One of the things afflicting Nigerian economy
is anchored on reputation.
Yes, tourists are not coming. There are a lot of places, in Nigeria that tourists used to come, but they are not coming anymore for fear, of insecurity. So by that clearly, like Barrister said, the Supreme Court already said it's irresponsible. So to that extent, what are you pursuing? That Nnamdi Kanu jump bail. So what?
He didn't jump bail.
He was on bail. He was on bail. You now send soldiers to his house that he was holding meetings.
What should he do?
Please, was he not supposed to be holding meetings? All you could have done is you could maybe have asked the police to invite him. You're on bail, but we have information that you are engaging in activities that may violate the terms of your bail. Let him explain to you that no, I'm just holding, normal meeting. There's nothing out of place in the meetings I'm holding. No, because the Buhari government was, so emotionally invested in dealing with Nnamdi Kanu, and by extension, now giving vent to the perceived hatred of the Igbos, perceived marginalization of the Igbos. You now pour fire, you now put petrol, added more firewood, and what do we have? We have a conflagration. So we don't even know who is who. People in the southeast are now saying that, it is people from some other parts of the country that are behind the violence in the southeast. Soludo, governor of Anambra State, came out the other and said, it's Igbos. Okata says it's Igbos. Soludo, go and bring out the Igbos. Go and bring out the people. Is it about ethnicity? The problems of our leaders is that they certainly, maybe deliberately or unconsciously lose sight of the issues. We're not talking about the ethnicity. If somebody steals your wallet, the question won't be about whether he's black or white. The question is that he, has snatched your wallet. So when you now start bringing in ethnicity, religion, you are destroying whatever efforts can be made to ensure justice. And that is what has happened. Okay, the Soludo, you said this, Igbos, where are they? At the time you said it, right? The situation, people were looking for a way. The late Chief Mbazulika Amechi, former aviation minister of the First Republic, went to Buhari and said, release Nnamdi Kanu to me. Let me stand at this. Release him to me. Please, before I die, release him to me. For where? The man died. Buhari was still on Nnamdi Kanu's case. How more disconnected from reality can people be?
But Emeka, you will agree with me. Buhari has come and he has gone.
But
the case continues. So why do we still have the same emotion drawn into the case, even if the person who kick-started it is no longer around to preside on the issue?
That is why people are telling Tinubu, you say you inherited a dead economy from Buhari, even though you say you will continue from where Buhari stopped. Let's hope it was out of excitement that you said it, when you said you will continue from where it stopped. But if you say the economy was dead, are you now going to, what more are you going to burn the economy? So what we are now saying is that
it's the same Soludo that said he inherited a dead economy.
Okay,
the same Soludo. What Baronado did recently in the response to the New York Times is to quote, he said, a respectable professor.
So now, you have inherited this so-called dead economy. You also inherited some cases, bad cases from Buhari. So whereas you have conveniently removed it from your hands. Sunday ago, in Benin Republic, you washed your hands off it. So Benin Republic quietly released the man. And some other matters here and there. You have removed your hands. So the police are now saying that there is no NSAS protester, alleged protester being held. Let's believe it on the surface of that. So in order to ensure all-round 100% accountability, please also discharge this bad case. This is Nnamdi Kanu's bad case. Discharge it, remove it from you, you know, yes. So that remove it from your shoulders, so that let us know what to pin on Tinubu. Let us know what to pin on Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari messed the nation, he messed up this nation. So it's in Tinubu's interest not to continue to be.
And it's been made to get away with it.
Yeah.
Why can't you prosecute Buhari?
I hope it comes to
Have we ever prosecuted them?
Because that subsidy is gone. Subsidy is gone. Statement, infamous statement that Tinubu made. I believe some people whispered it to him. Whispered into his ear, because the people drew up the speech. People who know him and who knew, they gauged the mood of the moment. But he now said subsidy is gone. It was a trap. They set a trap for him and he walked into it. So Tinubu should stop walking into traps being set for him that by Buhari's acolytes who are just hiding, you know, around. Tinubu, identify the problems before you and face them as Tinubu, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a surrogate of Muhammadu Buhari.
All right. No. Yes, Emeka called it a bad case, but let's not deny the fact that the Hydra-headed criminality caused by the many Nnamdi Kanu's broadcast is what we see as reality in the southeast of Nigeria. You called it a political truce, if it's possible. How well do you think that if this truth is agreed on and worked upon, are you sure that that Hydra-headed criminality that has been caused allegedly by Nnamdi Kanu's many broadcasts will come to an end now that it's believing that he might not really be in control of all of them?
No. Until his release, we cannot tell whether he's in control or not. You know, there's one Simon Ekpa somewhere who is also giving orders. Okay, and I believe he's doing that because Nnamdi Kanu is in detention.
And you don't think they are in cahoots?
No. It will become clearer when Nnamdi Kanu is out. Because I also learned that Nnamdi Kanu has some issues with Simon Ekpa. Okay, from what we hear. Now, those broadcasts that Nnamdi Kanu were giving them, for me, they're actually very inciting. Yes. If you had listened to them.
Yes.
Okay, this struggle, we can still adopt this struggle by going the right way. I wrote an article and on some of my broadcasts, I stated it. The African Charter on Women and People's Rights is the only legislation in Nigeria that guarantees secession. Now, the African Charter on Women and People's Rights was a charter agreed by African countries, okay, which was adopted by their respective national assembly. It's part of our law. When we are dealing on fundamental right enforcement in court, that's one of the laws we quote. We quote section 36 of the Constitution. We quote 35, presumption of innocence. We quote the African Charter on Women and People's Rights. We quote all those laws related to human rights. And as we speak in Nigeria, that's the only legislation. So you can actually bring that case under that African Charter on Women and People's Rights. This same Nnamdi Kanu's case. And then see how that is when you will get international support. That's when you, because the last time we attempted to do this through violence was in 1967, okay, which led to the Civil War that ended in 1970. You understand? It was a forceful way of achieving. It was violent. Now you cannot repeat that again. Reenact to get it by violence. You can't do that when you have a window. You have a law under which you can actually bring that. The Constitution is not guaranteed, but you have a law that guarantees. So you go for that. That's what you're supposed to do. And some Igbo guys in the diaspora have also talked about this same thing I'm talking about. That they could go that route to ensure that you don't have violence. People must not die just because you want to succeed. You know, it's not done that way. Okay? So, to say that whether it will end or not, you see, it will even be better for the federal government to listen to Nnamdi Kanu so that they too can restudy the pattern of crime. Because, you know, before his incarceration, before Nnamdi Kanu was incarcerated, there was no such kind of unrest
Very true.
in the east. We only had it in the north, and we're managing it, the insurgency before banditry came and all that. But for the eastern part of the country, all you had maybe were criminal groups, cultism.
Yeah, exactly.
Not what you now have. Some people hiding under the umbrella of Ipob, doing a lot of mayhem, kidnapping people and doing all sorts. So let's have him released. That is what I think we should take away from this. If it's released, the structure, whatever it is that's going in the southeast, will be clearly seen.
Very true. Well, that's just about the time we have for this segment, and we can't, of course, leave without calling on the attention of the federal government and those in authority to understand that when emotion is actually drawn to leadership, the results often does not really sit well with the general public, as we experience every other day in Nigeria. We'd love to say thank you to Ambassador Van Sufeli for being part of our show today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you as always for being part of our show. But most importantly, we'd love to say thank you to you for giving us your time and always making a date to join us. Please do well to visit our website also at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. I am Henry Igwebike. On behalf of the entire team of Enterprise Television, thank you for watching, and bye-bye from us.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.